Okay, I think we're ready to make a start. So, welcome to this panel on bike sharing with EMT Madrid, PBSC, and Serveo. I'm just going to give a brief plan of the session. So, I'm going to start by introducing some data from our latest report, the European Shared Mobility Index. It's distributed around the seats, so you can have a look and follow as we're going. I'm going to present some high-level numbers, and then we're going to get into the bike sharing side. And then we're going to enter from there in a general discussion with questions about electrification, and then also talking specifically about Barcelona and about Madrid. And then we're going to end with some quick-fire questions, some yes-no questions right at the end. So there are some sort of paddles distributed around. So put your hands on one of those, and we'll get to that towards the end. So just we'll do a quick round table of introductions. My name's Harry. I'm the head of marketing at Fluctuo. I used to work for the bike sharing company 15. So I've got a history in bike sharing. And Fluctuo is basically an aggregator of shared mobility data. We're the largest in Europe. And with that, I'll pass you over to the other panelists to introduce themselves.
Hi, it's Marina Llobregat. 4 years ago, I became involved in this mobility world. I was hired by a micromobility company where I was responsible for all the operations, building its operations from scratch for 18 Italian markets. And now I'm currently the head of operations for the bike sharing unit at Serveo, overseeing all the management for the public bicycle contract. Both for the operationally and the economical part, as well as providing some transversal support to other cities launching in Spain. And nothing, I'm very glad and grateful to be here, so thank you very much for inviting me.
Hello, it's a real pleasure to be here. I'm Carlos Mateo, I'm the Mobility Director of EMT Madrid. EMT is a PTO of the City of Madrid. And we run many mobility services. Our core is the bus, the urban bus service. But we also run the bike sharing scheme in Madrid. And it's going to be a pleasure to share with you our insights.
Thank you, Carlos. My name is Anthony Rinaldi from PBSC. I'm a urban solution specialist, basically supporting cities to achieve great micromobility goals. I've been working in this industry for almost 10 years now. So far, it has been a great journey. And maybe one formula to summarize our vision at PBSC, which is changing the world one city at a time. I'm very happy to be on this panel with EMT, Serveo, and Fluctuo. And I wish everyone a good session.
Okay, great. So just to get the background to the discussion is maybe some numbers. So we found that across bikes, scooters, mopeds, and cars, in Europe there are 930,000 vehicles, taking 600 million trips and generating 2.3 billion in revenue. As you can see, all of the numbers are some percentage increase on last year, on 2022. So this is a good thing. More specifically, there's lots of numbers here, and this you'll also find in the report, so I'm not going to spend too long. But one thing to note, since we're talking about bikes, is that station-based bike sharing is up around 10%, dockless bikes up 50%, and just looking at the sort of modal breakdown there, bikes make up a third of all shared vehicles, but 42% of all trips, so they have a higher modal share than they have vehicles. So there we are. That's basically the numbers I wanted to suggest. There's also one more slide on bike sharing that I'll just leave up while I ask the panel. So, what do you think is behind this momentum in bike sharing? And maybe we'll go down the panel and have each of your thoughts just on this. Yeah. You want to go and come back?
Yeah, I can start. So, I think there's two angles to answer that question. First, from a user perspective, I think that citizens reach a level of consciousness the last 3 years. I think COVID was also a big push for that, to understand what matters living in a city, you know. And I think they realize that adopting a bike sharing solution, it's also a mean to retrieve some freedom. Actually, I think the first source of freedom for a human being is autonomy, like the name of this show. And you reach the autonomy by the way you move in the place you live. Then, from the decision maker's perspective, I think we analyze also a trend where you have more and more reliable bike sharing solution available in the market. And decision makers from the cities now, they are no more sensitive about this topic, more educated. So this combined with the user's perspective, I think it generates a global adoption that can help to justify the growth the report is describing.
Yeah, I totally agree with you. Over recent years, there has been, the citizen has changed his mind in terms of mobility. We've seen, after the COVID, there has been a gradual decrease on the usage of the public means of transport, together with the fact that the city council, it pretends like it's intending to progressively get rid of the car inside the cities. So the cities are becoming more more bicycle friendly and not that car friendly. So the public bike has to be that element that has to be transversal and agile inside the cities, and will end up like stinging this mobility and this infrastructure. I must say that we do not pretend to replace the public means of transport, but we do pretend to be that complement inside the cities.
Well, I think I'm going from the top to the bottom. To be worried about the air quality in cities in general, it's a leading matter for all the cities today, and one of the main axes to try to get a better air quality is the transportation in general. And I think that today every city decided to include the bike, or identified the bike as one of the best ways to complement the public transportation in their transportation network, and they include the bike in their design of the city of the future. And because of that, they are betting for these public bike sharing schemes, and as they are betting more and more with this mean of transport, they are designing the cities with the system, the infrastructure, so they are pushing the bike presence in the city. Then people are more familiar with this mean of transportation, and for me, this trend is what justifies what we are seeing with the ridership increasing.
Okay, thank you, Carlos. I'm going to go back to Anthony now. One of the things that we see as well is that there seem to be more and more electric bikes on the streets. We can see this with the dockless bikes that are coming into European cities, but we also see it in the station-based systems. So I wanted to ask you, what is the trend that PBSC sees in terms of what cities are looking for, or what is their preference?
So based on my personal experience over the last decade, and especially what we saw the last 3-4 years with the introduction of e-bikes within micro-mobility, I think the upcoming trend for European cities is around flexibility. Okay, what is flexibility? I think when it comes to a bike sharing scheme design, we should come up with flexibility. So basically, I think a good system should be a dock-based system, if possible with charging station for the city center. And to address the outskirts of the city, I think it can be combined with virtual station when it's required, especially to test the potential demand on remote location. So that's one aspect of the flexibility. Then I think also regarding the type of bike that we are seeing now, I think the trend, the future will be a mixed fleet, a mix of pedal bike and e-bike with a strong dominance of electrical bike. Because we realize that electrical bikes are way more used than the pedal bikes. They generate way more trips. And on top of that, it's also the best tool to address a larger spectrum of users. So I think, yeah, the upcoming trends surrounds this concept of flexibility, having a hybrid network and having an hybrid fleet. But I think that the e-bike will show us the way, basically like Madrid did recently. So if you want to add more stuff on that, I'll give you the mic to you.
Well, the case in Madrid, I think is really interesting because we had a full electric bike sharing system since 2014. So this system started as fully electric, and of course it is electric today. The point of the flexibility, it's a thing that I think we learned about it, and when we released the last tender, we set a very specific technological requirements regarding the operation, because we really believed in the system has to be reliable, and to give that reliability for the system, it's important not only to be strictly focused on stations. Things that we asked in the tender, and some of them we already have it in the street in service. Another will be put in service later. The first thing, the overflow of the station, I think is really important for the user. Has the reliability that they have to be able to finish their trip close where they have to go. So with the overflow, we are achieving a really good user experience. This overflow, as you know, is if the station is full, you can finish your trip beside the station. Another thing that I think is important for the network development and the usage of the system, it's the capability of use virtual station to cover this kind of event that in every city happens. And then you can set a virtual station and people can get a place riding a bike and then finish their trip there and start the trip later to come back home. And other kind of features that we ask for Madrid is the trip pause, because it's really useful for the user. If you have to go to the grocery store or wherever, you can take a bike, stop the bike for a while, and then come back with the security. You are going to have the bike to coming back. So these kind of features, even combining the station-based system with free-floating feature, could provide a complete or fulfill the user experience and the system suitability to complement those movements that are not covered only with the public transportation.
And just staying with you, because you've had this overhaul of the system, more larger, and it's been a huge project. My question is, for this year, BiciMAD's been free or more or less free for users. Is that something that could be sustainable in the long run, or what's the vision there?
Well, everything is sustainable if anyone pays for it. So the sustainability,
so no.
It's a matter of money in general. And in the other side, we know the bike sharing schemes has their limitation. Marina was pointing out that we don't want to substitute the mass transit mode. Of course, the figures are completely different. They vary 10 or 20 or 50 times the amount of people that we are able to move in the public transportation or in the bike sharing scheme. So for sure, we are not expecting that. And the bike sharing scheme, every bike sharing scheme has their limitation about the amount of people that is able to move. So it is sustainable. The point is that you have to find the situation where your system works correctly, the operation is correct, you are able to move the demand you have, and for build that demand, the elasticity in the price is so important, and we show it. We even had the example in Madrid, because during the transition process, because as you said, we changed the whole system the last year, the whole technology, and we expanded it in 2023. And during this process, we set the system for free, and we are charging the system now, and we know the price elasticity is quite important. So as cheaper is the system, more demand you have, and the variation is so important. So for your question, it's sustainable? Depends. If you are able to move the demand you have and somebody pay for it, yes, it's sustainable.
Okay, thank you. And so Carlos said that there is a limit to the number of people you can move with your bike system. There's also a limit to how many people you can move by electric bike. And BiciMAD has a mixed fleet. So you have electric bikes and have manual bikes. And I believe that recently you've been trying to increase the percentage of electric bikes in the fleet because they were being much more used than the manual bikes. Can you tell us a bit about the challenges of doing that as an operator?
That's a good question. At first glance, the city of Barcelona expected to have the typical mechanical bicycle user. So it makes sense because it was not only a matter of mobility, but also it was a matter of sport. There was a healthy background behind that. So at the beginning, we started in Barcelona with 1,000 electric and 6,000 mechanic. Unexpectedly, it happened the other way around. The usage of the electrical bicycles started to increase, overtaking the mechanical ones. In the end, it makes sense, no? The user is all the time searching for that mean of transport that is agile, is transversal, and wants to arrive to his destination not sweaty, not exhausted, and wants to face these steep slopes of Barcelona and to have an easy ride. So over like 2021, we started to increase the electrification, 1,000 bikes per year. So by the end of the 2023, we end up with 4,000 electric and 3,000 mechanical ones. So on this year, 2024, we are going to increase our fleet. We're going to, this new implementation is going to be totally electric. And well, yes, our main goal is to have 100% of the fleet electrified. So it's foreseen. And regarding, the question that you asked me, the mechanical usage is almost residual. Anecdotically, when we ask to the customers why do they use the mechanical bikes, they answer, as soon as I arrive to the station, and I don't find this, there are no electric bikes, I have to take this mechanical bike because there's no other chance to take this electric bike. So it's kind of compulsory in the end. So
if I can add something, so basically the trend that I was describing previously is already happening in Spain, you know, and the pressure comes from the users. It comes from the users, so the users will define the trend of the future.
Great, thank you. I realized that, well, we still got, I'm not sure if we'll be able to answer the big question that we've got planned in 2-3 minutes. Should we attempt it, or should we go straight for the quick fire questions? Okay, let's go for the quick questions. So if you have everyone's got these panels scattered around, pick them up, please, because we put some time in the morning putting them together. I'm going to ask a very simple question, hopefully, at the beginning, so you get the idea of what we're trying to do. And then if we have some sort of mixed signals in the crowd and on the panel, we're going to ask the panelists for a one sentence of why they said yes or no. And then we'll do this for 2 of the 3 panelists. So the first question was, every city should have a bike sharing scheme. So what do you think? Okay, so 2, 1. So not as easy as I thought. A couple of no's. Let's go. One sentence why it's not suitable for every city.
You have to design the transportation network depending on the city. And in this design, you see if you need the bike or not.
It's okay, it's okay. In my opinion, the user and the citizen has to feel this freedom in order to decide whether he wants to take a public means of transport or he wants to ride a bike through the parks in the city. So the more offer that the city has, the better it is.
Yes, and if what we call the last mile solution, it's considered as a part of public transportation, then every city should deserve a bike sharing system.
If you have a question from the crowd as well, put your hand up and I'll come to you after this next one. My next question is, cities need fully electric systems.
Can we...
You can't sit on the fence. You can't sit on the fence. Come on.
It's a tough question.
It's complicated. Okay, let's hear quickly why.
Let's say yes.
Okay.
Yes, but
yes, why?
For the future, because actually the way we see this industry moving, the fact that the e-bikes are dominating the area of micromobility, technically, I don't think like pedal bike will disappear overnight, but e-bike will dominate the micromobility trend, you know. So fully e-bike, short term, maybe not, but in the future, why not?
So if I amended the question to say, from now on, cities should think about electric first, you would say yes, or?
Yes.
Okay. And for a city that has a fully electric scheme, you say no, so?
Yeah, the point, in the same way that I discussed before, I think you have to study the city case. For me, the trend says that it's better not to mix mechanical and electric. But depending on the city, you can have a fully mechanical system, and it could work. And maybe the shape says that you need a fully electric, but not necessarily every city has to have a fully electric system.
Thanks. Any questions from? No? Okay, I have another one. Cities should consider adding scooters to their public bike schemes. So I've seen that this is done a little bit in the US, a few no's already. And it's also been done a little bit in the UK. Damien, you don't have a thing? You say no, or what? So we've got a split panel again. Maybe I'll go to you first, Marina, and then... oh, you've all said yes? Yeah. Okay.
Well, the more offer the city has, the better, right? I mean, there are different ways of moving, but at the same time, the offer is the same. So it's good that the user has all these options, and if he wants to choose the bike because it's funnier for him, so it's okay. And maybe there are other users that for the scooters are scared of using them. So we have to, in the end, the user has the answer. So I think that it's awesome to have this duality in the cities.
Well, it's approximately the same. The point is that what you want is to get more users in the public transportation system, in the wide definition of it. So the scooters are gonna take some profile that you don't have with bikes.
Yeah, I'm totally in line with what has been said. Increasing the cocktail of micromobility is always good for the users. And I will add one condition. Yes, if you can dock and charge the e-scooter at the station.
Yeah.
End of the commercial.
And I think my last question is related to this. So I've written down, do you see a future where dockless schemes, so talking about the private ones like Lime, Dot, Tier, other companies, Forest, they can dock with your stations and you can charge them rent or something like this, I don't know. So yeah, is that feasible in the future?
So in the technological world, a lot of things are feasible. And then, as you guys know, we have some IP constraint and business model conflict. So if there's a will, and if the city is pushing for it, I think there's like common ground that can be founded. But in the short term, considering the difference between these two business models, because we have one that is basically designed as public transportation, while the other one is private concession, you know. So the main question is like, are you reconciliate two opposite business model that ultimately should serve the same goal, you know? So I don't have a clear answer for that. But technologically speaking, we can do a lot of things, yes.
Well, my point is because I think that it's really tough to operate a system where the availability of the station is not in your hand. So it's, for me, it's gonna decrease the quality of the service that you give.
It's a difficult question, actually. In short term, I agree with Anthony. I don't think that it's going to be possible, but in a recent future, it should be. At least we have, there are a lot of technological possibilities to carry out these new systems. So there's a lot of work behind, and it's a real challenge. So it should be, but not in a short term. But the convergence of this duality, it should take place.
Great, thank you very much. Are there any questions? Julien?
Can we imagine a system where the docking stations are being operated by one company, docking station, electrification station, and then you have operators who are using the docking stations to recharge their so it means that in the docking station business, you separate the one company is operating the bikes and one company is operating the docking stations. Is it something that we can imagine?
So it's one company operating the docks and one company operating the bikes. Is it possible? Or several?
Well, I think it could be, well, it could be possible if you understand the station like a charging infrastructure, not like a point where you have to start and end your trips. Yes, it is possible. It's the business model that some operators are doing, because they are finding spaces where you can to change your battery. It's more or less the same. So my answer is yes, but you are not, in that case, for me, you are not in a station-based sharing and bike sharing scheme.
Thank you very much, Marina. I think you need to catch a flight. So we're going to end it there. The other panelists will be around if you want to ask any more questions afterwards. But thank you very much, Marina, Carlos, Anthony. And thank you all for turning up on day 2 of the conference.